How was this?
This court has thought a lot about this case, having sat through the entirety of the trial, witnessed the video evidence in this case. The court is prepared to impose sentence. Mr. Shoemaker, is there any legal reason why this court cannot impose sentence at this time?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Guadalupe, having been found guilty of 12 counts for lewd, lascivious molestation by a person 18 years of age or older on a victim less than 12 years of age. On each of those 12 counts, you are adjudicated guilty. You are sentenced to serve 70 years in Florida State Prison, followed by lifetime sex offender probation. As to the one count of the lesser included attempted lewd or lascivious molestation, you are adjudicated guilty and sentenced to 15 years in Florida State Prison. And as to the 3 counts of unlawful or lascivious act, you are adjudicated guilty and sentenced to time served. All sentences are to run concurrently with each other. Clerk, please impose the standard felony court costs. Is the state requesting $100 in cost of prosecution?
Yes, sir.
Objection to that, or will impose $100 for cost of prosecution. How much credit time does he have now?
753.
753 days credit.
Yeah, my man looks salty. I don't know if he assaulted girls or boys, but he looks salty. And I don't even know like what child care, what daycare will allow like a male to be active. I don't even know, especially I don't know parents who know there's a male employee there would allow that, or allow that kid to attend.
Additionally, I believe pursuant to Florida statute, he must be designated as a sexual predator, correct?
That's correct. I provided the rights clerk.
The objection to that, wish to be heard, the court does find declare that Mr. Guadalupe is a sexual predator. I'll sign that order. Mr. Guadalupe, you do have 30 days to appeal the legality of this court sentence. If you wish to appeal but cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. Anything else from the state?
No, sir.
Anything else from the
No, Your Honor.
court is adjourned.
God. You know what? Let me finish up on
nations. Go ahead.
Neither shall they be divided, they shall be no more. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel. And one king shall be king to them all.
That's Christ. Go ahead.
And they shall be no more 2 nations.
They shall no more be 2 nations. 2 nations. Go ahead.
Neither shall they be divided.
Neither shall they be divided
Into 2 kingdoms anymore at all.
Let's go back now to John 4. This goes back to that split. Read that again.
Verse 9. Then saith the woman of Samaria unto him, How is it that thou, being a Jew, asketh drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria?
Now, keep in mind that Israel was in Samaria. I think it was Israel king who set up Samaria. But that was Israel. That's one of Israel's dwelling places. Okay, so there was never a law in Israel where the Israelites couldn't deal with each other. So by her saying this was big.
For the Jews unto him, How is it that thou, being a Jew, asketh drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans.
When she said the Jews, what?
Right, because Samaritans were Israel at one point until they got kicked out, removed. Yes. I went back. He was asleep. He wakes up. That's what I'm talking about. Soft. This guy, he normally sleeps for like 2 hours. So hopefully he just eats the cracker and goes back to sleep. Anyway, so woman of Samaria is a Gentile.
What you talk about? The kingdom of Judah. You of the kingdom of Judah, you guys don't deal with us. Who is Samaria? Hold on. Isaiah 7 verse 9. You might be confused. Who is Samaria? Because you might have the unlearned thought that these are Africans. No, it ain't Africans. These are Israelites. And I'm going to prove it as we read down. Isaiah 7 and verse 9.
And the head of Ephraim is Samaria.
The head of Ephraim is what?
The head of Ephraim is Samaria.
Read it again.
And the head of Ephraim is Samaria.
Go back to John 4 and verse.
Okay, that's just horrible. That's just horrible. Like I said, I already told you that Israel dwelt in Samaria, and Israel king set it up. Let me grab my notepad so I can say what you king. Take me a second. I'm on my notes. I'll tell you which king right now. I believe I can. Oh, I wrote it down. I took a lot of notes. I know it's the second Kings for sure. Let me get to my second King notes. Notice how none of them read Isaiah 11, Isaiah 42, 46, or 60. Get into it. Okay, so it was King Omri. He's the one that built the city of Samaria. It was King Omri. Let me make sure. Yeah, I'm so sure. Okay, King Omri. He's the king. I think he was the king of northern Israel. He was a king who built Samaria. So, but just because you read that doesn't mean that this woman is Samaritan. So she's a Samaritan. I mean, it doesn't mean she's a woman of Samaria. She lives there, but that don't mean that she's a Jew because not only Jews lived in Samaria, the Jews were removed. The Israelites were removed. Okay, so she wouldn't be an Israelite of any kingdom because they were removed. So she's actually a Gentile. She's actually a Gentile who's, being honest, Jews had no dealings with Gentiles. We are more likely to bring you to our pagan idol worship.
9 again.
Then saith the woman of Samaria unto him, How is it that thou, being a Jew, asketh drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria?
Ephraim. Go
Oh
ahead.
my God. He said, this guy is terrible. Yeah, his understanding is like so bad. I mean, it's really bad. Like this guy said Ephraim.
For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans.
You of the southern kingdom, the kingdom of Judah, don't deal with us. There's a split in the kingdom. Remember that? Let's keep
Yeah,
reading.
but they dealt with each other though. Some kings were with each other, and other kings they were cool with each other. So try again.
Yeah.
Jesus answered and said unto her, If thou knewest the gift of God, and who it is that saith to thee, Give me to drink, thou would have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water.
Christ said, if you had asked me, I would give you living water. For further proof that this is an Israelite woman. Go ahead.
The woman said
That's not the case.
unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then have thou that living water? Art thou greater than our father Jacob?
Art thou greater than our father Jacob? So what is she?
I don't mean she's including Jesus, because she said our Father. Like God don't understand what's going on evidently.
Of the tribe of Ephraim. Ephraim. Okay, remember there was a split.
That's a really dumb point. Because if I'm playing basketball, I have a team, right? And let's say I'm playing against the Watcher and his team. And let's say let's say the Watcher wasn't looking at the certain direction. He was face guarding his guy. And let's say the ball was passed and it hit off his guy's leg. It got a ricochet from my guy to his guy leg and out of bounds. And the Watcher said, it's going this way. Like he's hinting that it's going to be his ball. You know what I'm going to say to the Watcher? But forget, we're in opposing teams. I'm going to say, no. It hit off him, which is your guy. So the Watcher, it's our ball. Now, am I including the Watcher or my team also in the our pronoun? No. Our, I'm saying it as my team ball, not us together. Not that we are in this together. So that was a horrible, horrible analogy. Matter of fact, let me see. Something. I see people make this mistake often. So let me see. See, it's possessive, okay? Okay, so it's a possessive pronoun. It's belonging to or associate with the speaker and one or more other people previously mentioned or easily identified. So Joe and I had our haircut, belonging to or associate with people in general. So we're in here when we hear a sound, our brains identify the source. So so that's a problem that a lot of people make. Like they're not familiar with possessive pronouns. So I heard this argument with somebody else from the One West Kent. Like they falsely associate our as something inclusive. Like whoever that I'm speaking to is part of the hour, and I just used the basketball analogy that debunked that. But here it talks about people previously mentioned, or just more than yourself. So she's a woman of Samaria, so she's dealing with Samaritan people. Okay, Samaria, people who occupy the land right there. So I just wanted to freeze that was a straight off the head. Yeah, I just wanted to look it up to make sure. I know I'm right, but to make sure that I'm right. You know what I mean? With the definition proof.
And they did not, Judah and Ephraim and them, we didn't deal with each other. Go ahead, down to 12.
It's 12.
Oh, that was 12?
And I'm finishing up.
Okay.
Art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well and drank thereof himself, and his cattle, and his children, and his cattle? That's it.
Keep reading. I'm going to show you something.
Jesus answered and said unto her, Whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again.
If you drink of the well that Jacob gave you, you shall thirst again. Go ahead.
But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst.
If you drink of the water that I shall give, the Holy Spirit, the true understanding of the Bible, you shall never thirst. Go ahead.
But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life.
Come on.
The woman saith unto him, Sir, give me this water,
So she now wants this water. Go ahead.
that I thirst not,
Come on.
neither come hither to draw.
Watch this.
Jesus saith unto her, Go call thy husband, and come hither.
Go ahead.
The woman answered and said, I have no husband. Jesus said unto her, Thou hast well said.
Jump to verse 22 where it says, Believe me, you shall neither in this mountain. What verse is that?
22.
Go ahead.
21.
21. When John 4, verse 21.
21. Jesus saith unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour cometh,
The hour
That's
cometh.
pretty nice.
when ye shall neither in this
When it
mountain,
says ye, meaning you of the kingdom of Israel, you of the kingdom of Israel, the northern
Oh
kingdom.
my God, yo, you want to talk about just Jesus? He's reading that into the Bible. This is sad, man. This is so easy to beat up. This is sad.
Read it again.
the hour cometh, when ye shall neither in this mountain, nor yet at Jerusalem,
Nor the southern kingdom at Jerusalem, the kingdom of Judah.
worship the Father.
Why? Why? What did he mean by the hour cometh?
Because the false worship is going to get kicked out, and she's going to have to bear witness of the true God and God's true people, right? His ways, God's son, who she's talking to at the current point in time. The hour's going to come where you're going to know who you're talking to and what are the requirements to worship correctly. Woman of Samaria, that's what you're worshiping falsely. Okay? They got a bunch of half truths. Nothing I say is cap. I will smoke anybody on this at the drop of a dime.
And you won't be worshiping in this mountain, you of the northern kingdom, or Judah won't be worshiping at Jerusalem. Why did he say the hour comes when nobody gonna be worshiping? Because 70 AD, the Romans was prophesied to come and destroy both kingdoms, the kingdom of Judah and the kingdom of Israel. Read the whole verse
Good
again.
imagination.
21. Jesus saith unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour cometh, when ye shall neither in this mountain, nor yet at Jerusalem, worship the Father. Ye worship, ye know not what.
You of the kingdom of Israel, you don't know what you're worshiping.
You woman of Samaria, you heathen, you Gentile, you don't know what you worship. You think you're worshiping at Jacob's well correctly. No, you're not. Some things you're doing are correct and some things are false. It's because you were not called to be here. Okay?
We know what we worship.
We Jews, we of the
Oh, no. See how that works? You just said our was inclusive because she's speaking to Jesus. So our is plural and it's all inclusive. But then Christ used a similar pronoun. He used we. So he's speaking to her. So why isn't she included? If we're going to use our to be inclusive, and so then we will be inclusive as well. So why is the our is included to Jesus and Jacob well and Jacob's father? But when Jesus say we, he's not speaking about her. He's speaking about solely just Judah. Nah. It's either it goes both ways, or the our and we is not inclusive to both of them. They're speaking about their team. So Jesus speaking in teams, but she's speaking as one kumbaya family. Stop it, bruh. They're not missing each other. Either they're both speaking on teams, and she's really Northern Israel and he's Southern Israel, and she said our father speaking in Northern Israel father, or there's no team, and she's saying all of us. But you cannot pick and choose. It doesn't make any sense. Right? It's bad.
kingdom of Judah know what we worshiping.
For salvation is of the Jews.
What is that?
We kingdom of, when did Israel not know what they were worshiping? Israel went to idol worship by their wicked kings. Okay, and when God always called them out of it, gave them chances to do right.
mean? It means Ephraim and the other tribes must come under Judah. Christ
So in other words, like they knew how to worship. They just at some point chose not to. Free will. So this whole Judah and Ephraim or Israel, this is garbage.
of the tribe of Judah. All Israel must fall and bow down to Christ of the kingdom of Judah. That's all he's saying. Okay, was that it? From there, go to Galatians 2 and 11 now. Galatians chapter 2. We're going to read 11 to 16. I'm going to show you some more. Watch this.
Galatians chapter 2.
Verse 11 through 16.
But when Peter was come to Antioch, I withstood him to the face.
So when Peter came to Antioch, Paul withstood Peter to his face. Let's see what Peter did that made Paul have to get in his face.
But when Peter was come to Antioch, I withstood him to the face, because he was to be blamed. For behold, that certain came from James, and did eat with the Gentiles.
And did eat, certain came from James, and did eat with the
Okay, so are these Gentiles, Northern Israel, like, come on.
Gentiles. Now you know who these Gentiles are. The scattered Israelites.
Wait a minute. So you read John and 4, which is like story-wise known as Jacob, right? Like you go to like people who've been in Bible studies for a long period of time. If you say Jacob's well, like they're familiar with the events that happened in John 4. Okay? Even I remember that when I was like in church as a young person who didn't even care about none of this. But that I remember Jacob's well. That phrase. So how do you go from a woman of Samaria to the Gentiles? Because now you're saying when you see a Samaritan, that's a Northern Israelite. And also when you see Gentiles, that's a Northern Israelite. So it gives you a little confused. Okay. And then he said, Christ said, we the Jews, that represents the kingdom of Judah. Now, none of that wouldn't make any sense because of this. Now, this is a huge advantage I have over most people, not just Bible, just period. I have it's like, my brain is like a jigsaw puzzle. Like, some things I come across, it just like documented. And then I come across something similar, my brain just quickly connects it. So let's go here. Let's go here. So if what he's saying is true, and he got to make sense of this. So look, we're at Ephesians 2, by the way, because I was already here, not even knowing I was going to play this video, but we're there. Hold on. Watch this. Bible. KJV. Me taste his Bible browse. Watch this. Now he said that when Christ said the Jews, we know we worship, all of a sudden he's speaking from a team's perspective, your team against mine. But notice that he said when Christ said Jews, he had in mind Southern Israel, Judah. Well, if that's true, how do you make sense of this? So now he was just reading John 4, right? How would that make sense if we go 4 more chapters up? When we're reading about Jews. Okay, so Elder Nathaniel 7 just said Jews represent Southern Israel, the southern kingdom, Judah. Okay. So then said the Jews, so will he kill himself? They're speaking about Jesus. So that means that the Jews, they know Jesus is a Jew. Jesus knows they're a Jew. So aren't they all part of the same kingdom? If what Nathaniel's saying is right, let's scroll up. Let's scroll up. Let's stay right over, let's say 50s. Okay, 48, I was wrong. Then answered the Jews, so the kingdom elder says, and said unto him, say, okay, yeah, then answered the Jews and said unto him, say, we not well that thou art a Samaritan and has a devil. So why are they calling Jesus a Samaritan from northern Israel? And I forget, they're having a debate. So we're in this debate. They say, hey, the way you talking, man, you sound like you from northern Israel. You are a Samaritan and you have a devil. Make that make sense. Make this make sense. Why are they calling Jesus a Samaritan? You know why? Because to call an Israelite a Samaritan is calling them a false worshiper, a heathen. And he said he got a devil. So they were like, it's like us calling each other like cowards or the N-word. And this is like was spoken to Jesus in a derogatory way. Okay? This was not props. Like, hey man, you said you was with the northern, no. Hey man, you said you with the southern Crips. Nah, you with the northern Crips, man. Why you lie? Nah. They were dissing him, calling him a Samaritan, even. Because Samaritans apparently, when Israel left Samaria and they got replaced by these people calling themselves Samaritans, these guys are a bunch of heathens who are worshiping at Jacob's well incorrectly. Some truth, half truths, and half falsehoods. They're literally fake Jews. You know, that term is kicked around a lot, but Samaritans after Israel are literally fake Jews. They try to replace all the Israelites. You can say they're fake Israelites. So he will have to answer this. This would Unbiased Sports would have to, not just all the One West guys. This is what I can do better than them. So when they mention scriptures, because I've read a lot of this stuff before, it like my brain just connects it to somewhere else where I heard that before. What was it? Crackers? He didn't even sleep long. This guy wakes up. Crackers? What do you want? You want bread? You want bread? What do you want? Okay, go back to sleep. I know. Who? Then you make up a word and start crying when I don't know it. You acting like those fake Jews. Wait a what? All right. Anyway. So I was trying to really check to see if I was live. I mean, not live, if I'm sharing my screen because Right. Right. So yeah, so he just said it didn't make any sense.
Of the northern kingdom. Go ahead.
But when they were come, he withdrew and separated himself, fearing them which were. For behold,
Let's see what Peter did that made Paul have to get in his face.
but when Peter was come to Antioch, I withstood him to the face, because he was to be blamed. For behold, that certain came from James, and did eat with the Gentiles.
And did eat, certain came from James and did eat with the Gentiles. Now you know who these Gentiles are. The scattered Israelites of the northern kingdom.
All right. So you want bread? What is that? Get it. Whatever it is, you get it. Get it. You want cracker? Of water. Hey, say it the right way. Rename it. Like the Samaritans got renamed here. He renamed the Samaritans Northern Israel. Okay. So now this brother just said that the dispersed or / scattered are the northern Israelites. Then he just said the Gentiles are the northern Israelites. And then he said the Samaritans are the northern Israelites. So let me just write this down. What they say, keeping up with the Joneses. Let me keep up with this garbage. This is why I'm called to be their apostle. I gotta teach them the right way. Okay, so after camp kill them, we're gonna revive them, resuscitate them, bring them back to life. But it's gonna be about mistake. Like we're not intentionally reviving them, resuscitating them. No. They're gonna be like that guy who was dropped next to Moses' boy, that dead guy who they dropped and fell on Elijah's bone. Stop yelling. He fell on Elijah's bone and then was made alive again. Like that was a pure mistake. Yes. Yeah, that was a pure mistake. So that's these guys. These guys are gonna be resuscitated or revived mistakenly. It won't be intentional, unintentional. Then since they're living again, I'm just gonna teach them. I've been called to be their apostle. Okay. So let me write this down. I have to keep my notes in order. So it's called IUIC Jew. I can't wait to play GMS and Gentiles. Okay, and then it's 48 minutes. Huh? I'll fix it. Here. What's broken is fixed. What's fixed? Okay, show me. Yeah, you just sleeping. Go back to sleep. All right, so we got he says Samaritan. So Samaritans equals HOI. The dispersed equals HOI. Stop. And then he says, the Gentiles. I'm trying to follow his What? Stop crying. Seen a big old obese black nigga woman in shot right. I don't know if that was her daughter or her granddaughter, but she was definitely, the woman was definitely obese. And the little girl, probably was like under 2 years old, was asking for juice. And of course, that obese lady said, all right, yeah, listen, man, like there's no longer a filter between in black society, other societies as well. But you know me, I'm only sent to the lost sheep of black society. So, man, we are a total mess. We are spilled milk in aisle 3. That's what we are. We got to be cleaned up.
Go ahead.
But when they were come, he withdrew. For behold,
Let's see what Peter did that made Paul have to get in his face.
but when Peter
But now, keep in mind, he just says the Samaritans were HOI, the house of Israel, right? Northern Israel. Watch this.
was come to Antioch, I withstood him to the face, because he was to be blamed. For behold, that certain came from James, and did eat with the Gentiles.
Certain came from James and did eat with the Gentiles. Now you know who these Gentiles are. The scattered Israelites of the northern kingdom. Go ahead.
So you see, he just killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Then he said the scattered Israelites are the northern kingdom, and the Gentiles are the scattered Israelites. So they're northern kingdom. So basically, I would ask Nathaniel, okay, brother, in the Gospels and in Paul's letters, when we read Samaritan, is that should we automatically think of northern Israel? When we read the word Gentile, should we automatically think of northern Israel? And when we read the dispersed or the scattered, should we automatically think of northern Israel? Just going forward, so there's no confusion as we dialogue here. You know what he's going to say? No. He's going to say there are rare exceptions where Gentiles are actually ethnic Gentiles. And he's going to say in rare situations where there are Samaritans who are actually ethnic Samaritans. Okay, he's not going to stand hold on something like that. Out of those 3 options, he might stand strong on the scattered or the dispersed being Israel. He might stand strong on that. But the other 2, he would surprise me if he stood all 10 in those different positions. But go ahead, brother.
But when they were come, he withdrew and separated himself, fearing them which were of the circumcision.
So what did Peter do? When Peter saw the Jews coming, which were of the circumcision, they saw Peter eat with the Gentiles, the other Israelites. Peter separated himself. Read that part again.
For before that certain came from James, and did eat with the Gentiles. But when they were come, he withdrew and separated himself, fearing them which were of the circumcision.
Why did he separate himself and withdrew himself? Remember John 4, what did the Samaritan woman say to Christ? You Jews have no dealings with us. Okay, understand that. That's why that was a custom. The northern kingdom did not deal with the southern kingdom. Judah did not deal with Israel. Okay, you got to know that history. Okay, so that's why when the Jews came, Peter withdrew himself. He separated himself. Read on.
Right. Fearing them which were of the circumcision.
The Jews.
And the other Jews dissembled like him.
So the other Jews did the same thing that Peter. They followed Peter's bad example. Go ahead.
And the other Jews dissembled likewise with him, insomuch that Barnabas also, was carried away with their dissimulation.
So even Barnabas did the same dumb thing. Now Paul was real mad at Barnabas because Barnabas was with Paul from the beginning when the Lord called out the follow Peter's bad example. So read on.
Right. Fearing them which were of the circumcision,
The Jews.
and the other Jews dissembled like him.
So the circumcision are the Jews, and the uncircumcision are Gentiles. This is a wacky, wacky position. This is why they will never debate anybody formally. This group right here. So let me write that down. So the uncircumcision, they are the HOI as well. So now the question extends to them. So when I read circumcision, the circumcision throughout the Bible, the Gospels, I'm gonna say throughout the Bible, this one, who in who should I think of HOI? And of course, they're gonna say no. They won't stand in these positions. Right? So the circumcision, also the HOI. So now let me write down Greeks. Now I'll wait for him to say it. I'm not gonna jump ahead. I'll let him say Greeks or Northern Israel, then I'll write that down.
So the other Jews did the same thing that Peter. They followed Peter's bad example. Go ahead.
And the other Jews dissembled likewise with him, insomuch that Barnabas also was carried away with their dissimulation.
So even Barnabas did the same dumb thing. Now Paul was real mad at Barnabas.
With him, insomuch that Barnabas also was carried away with their dissimulation.
So even Barnabas did the same dumb thing. Now Paul was real mad at Barnabas because Barnabas was with Paul from the beginning when the Lord called out.
You know what? I'm just interested in something. It's crazy. I happen to be a fishing too. I'm just curious on Barnabas' now. Oh, I think I'm going right past it. Just curious. So he's a Levite. He's an Israelite. He, let's go back. Excuse me. Let's go back.
The Gentiles for a people for his name, okay? Which was Israel. Go ahead.
But when I saw that they walked not uprightly according to the truth of the gospel,
because Christ came for all 12 tribes,
I said unto Peter before them all, if thou, being a Jew,
of the kingdom of Judah,
liveth after the manner of the Gentiles,
you living like the Gentile Israelites, those scattered worshiping idols,
and not as
when
do the Jews,
and not the Bible ever reference wicked living, pagan gods, idol worship, wicked sacrifice? When did the Most High ever attribute that to as Israel's way of life? Never. The comparison is always Israel is living that way like unto the heathens, the nations, the pagans. I mean, everything he's saying just doesn't make any sense. Like this is not biblical. This is not biblically correct. It's terrible. It's a terrible job of eisegesis. He's adding to the text. He's reading into the text.
To the Jews who got the truth and the truth in Christ, you ain't living like that. Go ahead.
Why compel us now?
You living like the all 12 tribes.
I said unto Peter before them all, if thou, being a Jew,
If thou being a Jew of the kingdom of Judah,
liveth after the manner of
Now,
the Gentiles,
why would Israel be the standard of any part of Israel? Why would Israel be the standard of living ungodly? No, the ungodly standard was always that of the pagans. This is why the Most High told Solomon, don't date any women outside of Israel, because they are pagan, they're heathen. They're going to turn you towards their gods and idol worship. What did Solomon do? Just that. That's why he didn't want, that's why, for the most part, the Most High didn't want Israel dealing with pagans, because all pagans going to do is turn Israel on to pagan worship, which is ultimately disrespecting the Most High. So there's no way the Gentiles are being called the standard of wickedness, and Israel is that representation. That's 100% false. When they say Gentiles, especially in this context, they're speaking about actually Gentiles who never known God, who's always worshiped idols and false gods and sacrificed all type of weird stuff, so psychics and visionaries, that type of weird stuff. Worship gold calves. That's what Gentiles are normally known for, traditionally and historically known for. So when they were complaining about these Israelites, Peter and these guys, they were Gentiles, they were condemning them, saying, hey man, why you with these guys? All they're gonna do is turn you into the pagan gods and force you to turn your back on the Most High. Now the Most High gotta break you off that olive tree.
living like the Gentile Israelites, those scattered worshiping idols.
This is stupid.
and not as do the Jews,
And not as do the Jews who got the truth and the truth in Christ. You ain't living like that. Go ahead.
And this is why he'll never have a Israelite class where they just read the books in context. Like how I recently just read a lot of stuff in context where like I know what's going on, so you couldn't do this to me. I have more questions than, hey man, Khan, I have more questions. Like, wait a minute. What about this? What about that? This is why they don't, in their classes, they're not going to make sure that everybody are well studied on the books and take notes and have a good memory and learning capability on what the books have said. They're not going to do that.
why compellest thou the Gentiles
Why do you force the other Israelites, those Gentile Israelites,
to live as do the Jews?
to keep the laws of the Most High? So what was going on here? That's further proof that the laws were being taught. And Paul got on Peter. He said, Peter, why are you separating yourself from your brothers? Because the Jews coming, okay? You got to forget that dumb custom of separation, okay? The prophecy said that we would no longer be two kingdoms. We would no longer be two nations. Peter, you know that.
Peace out.
So Paul was getting on from there.
When I'm live to see the chat, I got to do something like this. On this iPad. Oh, never mind. Never mind.
Paul got on
chat, I
Peter.
gotta go to a different device. I just did that. Donnie, unprofitable servant, and also okay. Let me read. Aban in the house. 2 Kings 17:33. Yep, that's it. And it says, and when they worship God, they serve all their gods by the custom of heathen men, which they were translated to Samaria. Right. Acts 15, he said Acts 15:3. And so they were led forth of the church and passed by Phoenicia and Samaria. They told the conversation of heathen men. You know what? I'm glad you said that, because I was back looking, back tracing some of the books to get a 2024 memory and understanding of what's going on. I was going to do Isaiah, which is about 65, 66 chapters, But you know what? I'm gonna take unprofitable servant advice, or his not his advice, but I'm gonna take something he left in the chat. I'm going to read over Acts, the whole thing. Yes, instead of going to Isaiah, reading it all over, I'm going to read over Acts. Thank you for that direction.
He said, Peter, why are you separating yourself from your brothers? Because the Jews coming, okay? You got to forget that dumb custom of separation, okay? The prophecy said that we would no longer be two kingdoms. We would no longer be two nations. Peter, you know that. So Paul was getting on him from there. Was that down to 16?
No. We who are Jews by nature are not sinners of the Gentiles.
Right, because they understood the laws in Christ. Go ahead.
So we are the Jews by nature. So what comparison are they making right now? Are they saying that the Gentile Israelites or the Israelite Gentiles, are they saying that Israelite Gentiles are not Gentiles by nature? Is that the comparison? Can they make a comparison? Or are they saying that the Gentiles are Gentiles by nature? Like we're cut from a different cloth, and they're going to add to that.
Knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law.
Knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law. What did he mean? The law of sacrifice.
Really?
Okay. You're not justified by that. Go ahead.
Yeah, he does a lot of adding, right? Where does it say the law of sacrifice? It just said the law. The law of sacrifice. You want to play? Okay. You want to go to school? Okay. You want to play at school? You want to play at school? Okay, we can play. Okay.
But by the faith of Jesus Christ.
That's what justifies us. That's going to bring all Israel together. The faith in Jesus the Christ. His sacrifice, not the sacrifice.
Keep in mind, when they say Israel, they mean it how they're saying it. It's just the 12 tribes of Jacob, right? The 12 patriarchs and the descendants, like biologically the descendants of Jacob. But when Peter, Paul, and Christ, when they, well, really Paul and Peter and you know, the Gospels and letters, not Gospels, letters and epistles, when they speak of Israel, they're not speaking of a biological, you know, I mean, some biology. They're actually speaking on spirituality. They're speaking on spiritual Israel. And that's what these fleshly creatures, one West Israelites, are missing. They're missing that the New Testament focuses heavy on spiritual Israel, no longer physical, fleshly, earthly Israel. That's what they're missing. So when they debate people, even though Stacey mentioned it, but Captain kind of like clowned them, like you really got to stand on that. And you really got to say that over and over and over. Because when I watch these debates, I'm seeing Stacey and other guys with good arguments, good points, but they're not hitting hard. They're not hitting hard. Therefore, like they're making the debate closer than what it should be. It should be a Aaron Judge knock out the park debate.
Or the ox or the goat, that couldn't bring Israel together as one nation. Let's go back to Romans. Let's go to Romans 9 now. Okay. Romans chapter 9, verse 24 to 27.
You know, it's crazy. Like all this jumping around, like they from the house of Cain. Like they just jump, or they sign with JD. All this jumping. It's like, dude, like before you like, if I say, okay, let's go to 2 Kings something, I'm gonna try to explain like generally what that was about before I just pull something out of it.
Even us, whom he hath called, not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles.
Read it again.
Even us, whom he hath called, not of the Jews only.
Even us he has called, not of Judah only,
but also of the Gentiles.
So what is Paul saying? That Christ didn't call just Judah, he called us too.
What?
He called all the other
I
Israelites
missed
too.
that.
Judah only.
Not of the Jews only, but also of the Gentiles.
Read it again.
Even us, whom he hath called, not of the Jews only,
Even us he has called, not of Judah only,
but also of the Gentiles.
So what is Paul saying? That Christ didn't call just...
Well, let's go over what he's not saying. He's not using us inclusively. Yeah. Wait. I'm sorry. He is. But the thing, this is the confusion part. Because they don't really know how to use we, us, and ours. I say ours. Our. O-U-R, U-S, and we. They're not clear on how to actually use those pronouns correctly in an English sentence. So, like, we gotta, like, y'all might feel like it's being petty. When I say y'all, it's not like people in chat right now, but maybe in the future. But people who study different languages and or are good at American grammar, y'all will know why that's important. But when they say us, who is being included right here? Or who do you believe is not included? You gotta ask both that because they're not understanding when they say us, who's been included and who's been excluded. When they say we and our, who's been excluded, who's been included. They're not sure. So when you ask the question, okay, when she said our, she's speaking about the woman of Samaria. So according to Nathaniel, she's speaking of all of Israel, right? But when Jesus said we, he's only speaking to Judah. And now we hear us. All right, so is that everybody or a team? Because you can't use them like that.
Judah, he called us too. He called all the other Israelites too. And he was calling themselves what? Gentiles. Read it again.
Even us.
Even us. The operative word us. Go ahead.
Whom he hath called.
Judah only.
Look how he skips 24, 27. Like, there's no context. They run from 4, 5, 6, definitely 6. They want to read verse 6.
Also of the Gentiles.
So what is Paul saying? That Christ didn't call...
I'm doing Acts next. And as I keep reading these books, like I'm getting stronger and stronger and stronger in these verses. You know, the Bible says somebody wax stronger in the spirit. But as I keep watching these videos of these guys' lectures and debates, as I keep reading these books, I'm waxing stronger in the spirit. And eventually, it's going to be like a virgin birth bloodbath. It's just going to be, who's next? Who's next? I'm going to have like 6, 7 guys in one day. Fight them all. And this is going to be worse because they'll drop the virgin birth to a certain point because they'll say, hey, it's not salvationable. But this one is. There's no way out of it. So they're going to fight like hell in this one. And I'm telling you, from what I'm listening to and what I'm reading, this is going to be so much easier than the virgin birth.
Just Judah, he called us too. He called all the other Israelites too. And he was calling themselves what? Gentiles. Read it again.
Even us.
Even us. The operative word us. Go ahead.
Whom he hath called.
Christ called us. Go ahead.
Not of the Jews only.
Not of Judah only.
But also of the Gentiles.
But also of the Gentiles. Now you should know who those Gentiles are. Keep reading.
They are heathens, they're pagans, they're non-Israelites, they're non-Jews.
As he saith also in OC.
And Hosea, go ahead.
I will call them my people, which were not my people.
I will call them my people, which were not my people. What is he quoting? He's quoting Hosea. Let's get that real quick.
All right. So I wonder if Captain got this from. Nah, this is newer. So he might have. I don't know. I wonder if Captain got this from Nathaniel because I don't think Nathaniel would have got it from Captain. So I wonder if Captain will be honest on this one. He take this one from. So now, although I don't think I would disagree where they're going now, I think they finally going to read something correct. They're going to read. They read the OC writings and they're going to go to OC Hosea. So they're right there, but they're not adding one more part to that. There's 3 parts, and the third part they're not including conveniently. So they're gonna read is correct. but that's only 2 out of 3 parts. They got one more part, and they're not going to read it. But guess who found it? You dig?
Okay, time is running. Time is of an essence. We're going to get to actual quote. Hosea chapter 1, verse 10 and 11. Okay? Hosea chapter 1 and verse 10 and 11.
Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, Ye are not my people.
When was it said we are not God's people? Remember from the time of the Greeks, when they were following Greek customs, Greek laws. Read it again.
Oh yeah.
When was it said we are not God's people? Remember from the time of the
All right,
Greeks.
so, well, he's saying Greeks, but it was before the Greeks. So, like, minus Greeks, he's right, but saying Greeks, he's wrong. This is not referencing Greeks or Greece. This is not referencing that. Okay, the Greeks weren't even around at this time. I don't believe. Check me if I'm wrong. Educate the brother, but the Greeks were not even thought of at this point. So I don't know why he keeps referencing Greeks. Like, he went back to Hosea. That means they're going back to the distant past. The Greeks were not there in the distant past. So, dude, any other person you'd have been correct, but you can't sit there and say Greeks. That's totally wrong.
When they were following Greek customs, Greek laws. Read it again.
And it shall yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, Ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, Ye are the sons of the living God.
Now that prophecy goes all the way up until today, because we're not called the people of God today. We're not called Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. We're called American blacks. We're called West Indian blacks. We're called Haitian blacks. That goes all the way up until today with the northern kingdom of Israel, where they're not called Ephraim no more. They're called Puerto Ricans. They're not called Simeon no more. They're called Dominicans. They're not called Manasseh no more. They're called Cubans. So go back to Romans 9. Go ahead.
11th verse. Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together, and appoint themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land, for great shall be the day of Jezreel.
Back to Romans 9 real quick. Romans 9, what verse you at?
25.
Go ahead.
As he saith in Hosea, O.C., I will call them my people, which were not my people, and her beloved, which were not beloved. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, Ye are not my people, there shall they be called the children of the living God.
So now, even during the time of Peter and Paul and them, they had to gather those dispersed Israelites that were following Greek customs from the time of the Maccabees that told them a law was set up. You can no longer call yourselves Jews.
Okay, all right, whatever. But I will say this. So as they were going to the scattered, so as they were going to teach the scattered Israelites, it was impossible to not teach the Gentiles. It's not broken. Nothing is broken. It's fixed. You're just tired. He wakes up. He's normally grumpy. There's nothing wrong with this. This is fixed. Okay, it's mine. You got me boo boo. Give me Band-Aid. Don't start that. No. Here. Where's your other monster truck? Is that one fixed? Let me see. Let me see if it's fixed. Let me see. Oh, what's this monster truck? Stop it. Stop doing it. Come. Stop. Here. Let me kissy. Let me see. You stop with the acting. I hope you don't do this the first day in daycare. God, they can call me. Can you come get this guy?
You got to call yourselves Corinthians. You got to call yourself Thessalonians. You got to call yourself Galatians. That's the history that you're missing in your churches. Okay, call yourself Ephesians. So now, even until today, that history falls in. With that, brothers and sisters, we pray you've enjoyed today's lesson. We can't do this alone, brothers and sisters. We need your help. We need you to send your donations to help keep this truth going. Visit our website at www.israelunite.org.
So I, I, I,
Jesus the
I'm
Christ.
gonna wait on that one with Meech. So let me do this one. Real quick. See, you want this? This? You want one? You want one?
Shalom, back on the air with another installment of Apostles GMS, giving all praise to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai,
Now,
live streaming.
see,
And
Romans
today's topic is
11
entitled
breakdown. But so far, every one West Israelite who called their breakdown Romans 11, they barely touched Romans 11. Will they be the first people to actually read verse 11? I'm sorry, chapter 11, from verse 1 to the last verse. Will they be the first Israelite group to do it? I think they will. I'm not sure. I think they will.
Gentiles versus the Gentiles, Romans the 11th chapter, and other breakdowns. So, we can start wherever. Basically, this is dealing with the Gentile issue, because that's a major stumbling block and controversy about the Gentiles. What does it mean by the word Gentiles when you go into the Old Testament and to the New Testament? Now, what we have, broken down was that the Gentiles in the scriptures, when you come across the word Gentiles, and you got to put it in the right context, as this Edomite preacher said, in the right context. So sometimes you come across the word Gentiles and it's talking about actual Gentiles. Other times it's talking about Israelites, and we used to use the term.
Yeah, I would like them to show me one time. Now, this ain't you don't win the debate, but since they're making this claim sometimes, can you guys just show me one time where a group of people are clear, like a clear one time, where a group of people are called an Israelite in the Bible? I'm sorry, a group of Israelites are called Gentiles in the Bible, but they were actually Israel. Okay? Just one time. Like you had, I think Apostle Paul was called an Egyptian, but he was clearly Apostle Paul. So just show us one time where an Israelite or Israelites were called Gentiles, and they were actually Israelites. Just one time. They're making this claim, we haven't really heard it yet.
Terminology, a Gentile state of mind, which is a good terminology. Anyway, go ahead and say what you got to say.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 3 and verse 15. It says, and I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. And pretty much, this Gentile issue, as the Apostle Tar just mentioned, is a controversial issue, and it's still a stumbling block to this day. It shouldn't be, but it is, because you have the elect out here, and you have the people that are not elect, and the people that are not part of the elect, they won't understand it, they won't get it, because they've been pretty much flooded by the god of this world, which is Esau, the devil, and pretty much they're things like when you read trying to remember. Yeah, Con. He just asked probably a couple of hours ago.
Okay, well then go to it.
Yeah, let me get it real quick. And pretty much in the question that I can't remember the question exactly, so I'm gonna pull it up. But the question that he asked, pretty much in the question, he answered his own question. So let me just see if I can pull it up so we can just go to it. So he pretty much answered his, answered his own question, in the question that he asked. If he read the question again, he'll get his answer. Let's see. Should be Romans. I believe it's either Romans the first chapter. I mean the first part or the second part. Let me see. Yeah, it's got to be the second part. Give me 1 second. I'm about to pull up part 2 now. Oops. Just bear with me 1 second. All right, here it goes. All right, it says, Shalom, Elder. She says, Shalom, Elder Tahar. This is the brother Lamad from GOCC Chicago. I appreciate you brothers doing the work and continuing the water for the commentary on the sit down I had with Shai, Tried, and Refined. I wanted to see your understanding or breakdown of Acts 15 with the council and Acts 21:15-25 specifically.
This is one problem.
I'm trying to understand, why would Paul not let the Gentiles get circumcised if they were really Israelites, then gave a commandment that the Jews or Israelites among the Gentiles, I guess he meant to put the rest of it to get circumcised. And it's just that simple. It's easy. He said the Jews, he said the Gentiles, which were the Jews among the Gentiles, because you had Israelites that knew that they were Israelites, that dwelt among the Gentiles. And some of them, some of them kept some of the customs of those nations. And some of them didn't circumcise their children. Some of them didn't, some of them spoke the Greek language and didn't speak the Hebrew language. So those Israelites that knew that they were Israelites, it's easy for them to get circumcised because they knew that they were Israelites. But the Gentiles that were among these other nations that didn't know, they had to be given the chance, like the scriptures say, let all things be done decently.
So now, I told you that you see, you're hearing it twice. They're saying when the Bible says the uncircumcised, they're saying those are Israelites. So I will ask them again. I don't like to presuppose their argument, so I want to make sure I'm arguing their argument. I want to make sure I understand the argument. So I will have to ask some of these questions, like, dude, I would have to ask some of these questions, like, dude, are the uncircumcised in the Old Testament, what are they? Are they Israelites? In the New Testament, when I read uncircumcised, should I always think Israel, or can sometimes the uncircumcised be Gentiles? Because this is the confusion they add. So how would I know in the future? If you say yes to that, yeah, sometimes they're Gentiles, ethnic Gentiles. Then my follow-up question is, okay, so if I pick up the Bible and start reading, how would I know? And if I read the Bible and it says uncircumcised, how would I know in advance I'm reading about Israel or an ethnic Gentile? So of course he's going. They the only way to answer this, and where it makes sense, they would have to say some Catholic stuff. Hey man, you just got to tune into us, like where they're just the teachers of it. Like, hey man, it's in English and you read English, but nah, bro, you got to come through us to get the understanding here. Like that. That's where you have to go.
Okay. Salakia, this is
So Ephesians 2:11. Yeah, exactly. So you said it in the right context. These guys, when they go to Ephesians 2:11, somehow they believe that the Gentiles are Israelites. Like they believe they're speaking to Israelites, saying, "Hey, you were Gentiles, strangers or foreigners or outsiders." Like I heard some of these guys say that. They say Ephesians 2:11 is speaking about Israel, saying Israel was Gentiles, or Israel were Gentiles. I'm like, wait, what? These guys are wild.
Romans I'm sorry, First Corinthians, Romans 15 and 14 and 5. It says, one man esteemeth one day above another, another esteemeth every day alike. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. So that's the key, so they had to be persuaded in their own mind, because here it is, the Jews in Jerusalem couldn't keep every law perfectly, and here it is, these Israelites are just coming out from among these other nations. How the hell can they keep the laws perfect when the Jews that were in Jerusalem couldn't keep them perfect? So that was the point. The point is, okay, we're going to give them a guideline, something to work with, and that's why they said, don't eat things strangled, don't drink blood, don't do this, don't do that, and pretty much that was the standard for them. And then from that point, once they learned more and more, of course, they would keep more of the laws, statutes, and commandments, All right, so with that, just going to go right to Romans 11 and start at the first verse. It says Romans 11 and 1. Okay. Okay. All right.
I don't know who goes to Burger King and McDonald's to buy something other than a burger. Like, yeah, it's called Burger King. They're the king of burgers. McDonald's is known for burgers. So who would go there to buy chicken and fish is like, just, to me, just asinine. Like, dude, they don't claim to specialize in fish and chicken. McDonald's and Burger King, they claim to specialize in burgers, beef burgers. Maybe Wendy's and Popeyes and KFC, that's their claim. So if you're gonna buy a chicken sandwich or chicken or Chick-fil-A, like you should think about Chick-fil-A, Popeyes, Wendy's, spots like that, KFC. If you want to enjoy a chicken sandwich, I never liked McDonald's chicken nuggets and chicken anything or fish anything in Burger King. Big BK fish, horrible. Like, yo, what kind of fish is this? It's whiting, perch, like what is it? Oh, we don't know. Oh man.
So it said, I wanted to see your understanding or breakdown of Acts 15 with the council and Acts 20.
Yeah, so we got read that Romans 11. Matter of fact, let me help them out. Let me get to Romans 11. All right, so Unprofitable said, Judah 14:10, when the child Achior saw all that the God of Israel had done, he believed firmly in God. So he was circumcised and joined the house of Israel. Oh my God, they're done. They're done. Let me find that. Oh my God. Oh my God. Man, yo, Unprofitable knows some stuff. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold with me. 14 and 10. All right. Man, dude, you about to really have me slaughter these guys. Listen. So what's Judith's nationality? I wouldn't know. Oh, wait. I don't need to know because it's talking about Akir. Okay. So it says, then they call Akir out of the house of Ozias, and when he come, he saw all of his thing, blah, blah, blah. I just seen something for Akir. So the house of Ozias. Mosquito. Oh, yeah, here we go. Akir the Ammonite. Oh my God. All right. Now let's get to verse 10. And went, oh my God, they're done. I'm just gonna go here. I'm just gonna explain this right here. And when Achior had seen all that God, the God of Israel, had done, he believed in God greatly and circumcised the flesh of his foreskin and was joined unto the house of Israel to the day. Now that's gonna body captain. That's gonna body captain. I ain't gonna say it why. I ain't gonna say why. But Captain made a mistake, and that verse just proved Captain wrong. The Captain was asking somebody to like show that, and I just read that. So That's gonna go at captain. But yeah, let me hold this right here. Oh my goodness, Ammonite. Oh, so now Ammonites are no longer Ammonites. Ammonites are also the lost Israel. They're northern Israel. And let me guess that the Ammonites are northern Israel. Like they will have to use that position. Dang, man, it's over. Yeah, I'm just going to write that one down. Where's my pen? Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, that's so clear cut. I'm gonna not waste time. Just go straight there. The Romans. Okay, let me write this stuff down. Okay, so that is gonna hurt. See, that's what I mean by hitting hard. Like that's what they were not doing when they debate these Israelites. They're not hitting hard. Captain and these guys are hitting hard, but they're not hitting hard back.
21:15 to 5 specifically, I'm trying to understand why would Paul not let the Gentiles get circumcised if they were really Israelites? Then gave a commandment that the Jews or Israelites among the Gentiles, I guess he meant to put should get circumcised. And the question, the answer is right there. Because the question I asked you was, what nationality was Timothy?
Greek.
You know, now Timothy, they said in the scriptures that his father was a Greek. Now, was his father really a Greek? No, he was an Israelite that was among the Greeks.
So they said it. So now the Greeks are also northern Israel. I mean, this is wild. This is a wild doctrine. So if the Bible shows Gentiles receiving the Most High in any favorable way, it can't be a Gentile because the Most High hates Gentiles. So we got to make that Gentile Israel somehow, some way. Okay, so wait till I show Meech, Judah 14. See now, this is how I want it meets. The way unprofitable is coming. That's how I want it meets. Like Meech, you should be more diligent than myself. Like I'm going back reading all these books to get a perfect understanding on their argument and beat it up. All right, so we got that, and then he says Jeremiah 9:25-26.
What? Here.
Here. Romans. Thank you. Romans 2:20-21. I got it. I'm gonna check out those later.
You know, he could have been one of the Israelites that didn't know that he was an Israelite, or he could have been one of the Hellenistas Israelites. So what did
So let me write down Acts 16:1, so they keep putting this in my face. Acts 16:1. Timotheus. Okay, Timotheus. That Greek. Non-Jewish. They flat out say whose dad is. So when they ask you what's your nationality, what's the point of asking that on the streets if whatever we say, somebody can just say, hey, that's Israel, that's lost Israel. So what's the point of even asking people? The Acts 61, and he came to Acts 61 is gonna hit hard.
Or the first thing that Paul did when he came to Timothy was what? He circumcised him. Why? Because the order was
So,
in.
let me ask unprofitable this. Is a Jewish woman from Judah or Judea, or is a Jewish woman a heathen or Gentile?
15th chapter, the order was, matter of fact, I'll read that real quick and then we'll hit it. Acts 16:1. Then came he to Derbe and Lystra, and behold, a certain disciple was there named Timotheus, the son of a certain woman, which was a Jewess and believed, but his father was a Greek, and which was well reported of by the brethren that were at Lystra and Iconium, Greek. So now wasn't the decree in Acts 15 not to get circumcised, not for the Gentiles not to get circumcised, those Israelite foreigners not to get circumcised? So why did Paul circumcise Timothy? He was considered to be a Greek. He was considered to be a Gentile, because you had different levels. See, Timothy understood.
Now we got different levels of Israelite foreigners, Israelite Gentiles. Oh my God.
He understood because his mother was showing him certain things, and then Paul came to show him the perfect way, of the scriptures. Yeah, something possible, Paul?
Yeah, the book of 1 Corinthians 1 and 24. Well, let me start at 23. But we preach Yahushua crucified, unto the Jews a stumbling block, and unto the Greeks foolishness. But unto them which are called, now who are the ones called? Only Israelites are called, both Jews and Greeks, because you had Israelites that spoke Greek. You had Israelites that had Greek names. Like Paul, that's really a Greek name. Silas, Epaphroditus. These were not Greeks, even though they had Greek names. They were Israelites with Greek names. Just like today, we're Israelites, but we have so-called American names,
Yeah, because Apollos, he knew he was a Jew, but his name was Apollos. That's a Greek name.
Yeah, Apollos is a Greek name. You even have a so-called God name, which the Greeks worship, name Apollos.
Acts the 15th chapter about when Simon had first visited the Gentiles.
Right.
Those Gentiles that he visited were Israelites,
and the mom
and it started with
Israelite, which makes it worse because they teach apps. I'm not saying in some cases this is true, but they teach absolutely that your nationality only goes by the dad. And for them to say Timotheus is an Israelite, in spite of his dad being a Greek, goes against their requirements and logics and stance as well.
Cornelius, and Cornelius is an Israelite. All right.
No, let's not go to that.
Go to that.
Con. Yeah, so that's the thing, like some of these
bubble eyes, man. That clown. Romans.
I'm not interested.
The first chapter, the 7th verse. To all, because I mentioned the word.
I got to
called, right? To all that be in Rome, excuse me, beloved of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, called to be saints. So another thing they're called to be is what? To be saints. Now, pursuant to Psalm 147, or is it 148? when you go back now, King David said, through thy precepts I get understanding. So these are precepts. Romans 1:7. To all that be in Rome, beloved of the Heavenly Father, called to be saints. So now the precept should kick in. The precept that I just read, and there are other precepts too, who the saints are. Grace to you and peace from the Most High, our Father, and the Lord Yahweh Shai. So that
Israelites that were being labeled by the circumcision being heathens, man.
to the law. Even to this day, you have a lot of Israelites that still eat swine's flesh, which is an abomination. And the abomination and the mouse shall be consumed together, saith the Lord. And that's why the Lord say he's going to kill 2/3 of his people. They're eating that goddamn swine's flesh. You know, the Lord says you're not even supposed to touch it, man. And a lot of you have these different diseases. Why? Because you're eating swine's flesh. You got hypertension, diabetes, you name it, man. Anyway, for I know that their works and their thoughts, it shall come that I will gather all nations and tongues, and they shall come and see my. The internet is doing the heavy lifting. You know, that's the long and short of it.
Romans 11, and they didn't go there yet.
Daddy.
Yes.
Huh?
Huh? All right, where's he reading from now?
My glory, the same thing. And they shall declare my glory among the Gentiles.
They shall declare my glory among the Gentiles. Okay, let's see where this takes me. Okay, all right, so it was Isaiah. Okay, so these are some books they don't really read, and these are chapters from Isaiah they don't really read. So I'm surprised that they're the first Israelites. So I'm not surprised because they not from this camp. This camp seemed more bold than other camps because they think they could explain everything away. So they're not going to cherry pick like most camps do. This camp right here. They just believe everything can be explained away. All right, so Isaiah 66:19. Declare my glory. Among the Gentiles. Got it. I'm like, why would they give me this? You guys are crazy. Paul writes Timothy and Titus to stay away from full genealogy because they were heathens. Okay, got it. Okay, so it says Roman 11 breakdown and other breakdown.
I did it.
Tell it.
Nonsense, man. The internet was created really by Yahweh.
All right, so I just want them to get to Rome Romans 11. Just one time. And I'm gonna do it to be continued.
How about
Oh, are also Israel. Wow.